Hi, how you doing, and welcome back to another video on the channel. What we have for you today is a bit of an extra video because it's another sort of second preview of Game Week 6, and the main reason we're doing this is because Alexander Isak has got a broken toe and is really doubtful to play this game week, and he's playing Man City as well. So I am thinking of making a short-term transfer just to sort of cover that injury. So we're going to talk about the reasons why, the possible options I could go with, and then who I've ultimately going to decide on as it stands. If you are new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. We're putting this video out because we want to be transparent with what we're thinking, and we don't want to sort of catch people unawares by seeing a surprise player in the team review next week. And it also might give you some ideas for your team as well. Maybe you've got Isak and you're wondering what to do with him. So the team as it stands, we're not going to review the game week before, we've already done that, and this is the team we've got on the board. Now, before we get to the strikers, there are a few key players that I'm considering. One of them is going back to Chris Wood. Now, I'm looking at like a 2-week timestamp on this because I don't necessarily want this player forever. I just want him for the foreseeable future, the next couple of game weeks. So who has the best fixtures in the next 2 game weeks? Well, Chris Wood has Fulham at home and Chelsea away. It's not too bad. He's on penalties. He's a lot cheaper. I'm still not sure about what I want to do with the money that I would save, because if I went to Chris Wood, I'd save about 2.2 million in the bank, and then it kind of, turns around whether I want to improve the defence or, but I also don't want a player like Chris Wood for that long in my team anyway. You're never too sure. We're looking at 2-week span here, but if I get other injuries, I maybe want him for more than 2 weeks, in which case I don't want to rely on someone like Chris Wood. I got Calvert-Lewin, who's got Palace and Newcastle both at home in the next 2 game weeks. Now, from a defensive point of view, they've not played great, have Palace and Newcastle, but I don't know how sure I am on Everton. I think he's a good option, and he's definitely up there, but he's a player that, I'm not necessarily wanting to rely on long term. A bit like Chris Wood with sort of the consistency. Chris Wood sort of scores in bunches. You kind of know Calvert-Lewin, whilst he's a good player, he's not necessarily going to score you goals every game week. He's not someone you want to rely on. And whilst he is in form and he is an option, I'm still unsure about him. Another option could be Nicholas Jackson from Chelsea, who actually has Brighton and Forest in the next 2 game weeks. And that's pretty good. I quite like those fixtures. I like Nicholas Jackson, what Chelsea are doing at the moment. So he is also an option. He's 7.7 million. So I'm not saving too much from Isak. But like I said, I've not really got any plans for the money yet. And let's say I save another 500,000. Well, I've got 1 million then in the bank. Could upgrade Gvardiol. Could upgrade Eze if I wanted to. But there's not really, I've got these players in my team because I want them in my teams. I don't feel like there's loads of transfers that need to be made at the moment in my team. So another player is Dominic Solanke. So I could go with Solanke, but he has Man United and Brighton, and they're both away. So I don't really want to get Solanke. So for me, it's between Jackson, Calvert-Lewin, and the person I've gone for is Kai Havertz. That's who I'm thinking at the moment. And, it's funny because even in the videos before, we said double Arsenal defence, and I probably think that's still the better option. But I've only got 1 free transfer. I've already made my transfer. I've got Mbuemo in for Anthony Gordon at the start of the game week, so I've got 1 free transfer left. And if I'm looking to get Isak out, well, I can't use it on someone like Gabriel or Saliba because that would be a points hit, and that's not something that I want to do. That's a bit too panicky. So I'm just looking at a straight swap for a striker and who's going to get me the best points in the next 2 game weeks. Well, Arsenal have Leicester and Southampton both at home. And then if I do need to sort of stick with the striker for another game week, they've got Bournemouth. So those are 3 really good fixtures. And Kai Havertz has played 90 minutes of every game so far this season. And he is sort of, I know he might be playing a little bit more into midfield now. Odegaard's out and he's maybe not getting as quite attacking returns. But the fixtures are just so great. And Arsenal, I think they're going to bounce back a little bit with the sort of the criticism they've been getting about not being attacking, and I think they could easily, blow Leicester and Southampton out the water. So I still believe in Isak and Newcastle for the long term, and I still think Arsenal double defence is great. I didn't want it to look like I'd gone against what I was saying in previous videos, because I still do think they're all good options. But for me personally, for my team, as much as I believe in Isak, I've also got to face reality, and it's almost like he's not been scoring, and now he's injured, and now he's playing Man City. I sort of think, well, the writing's on the wall a little bit. It's so obvious. Sometimes you've just got to see it. So that's who I'm thinking of at the moment. If you see this before the deadline, feel free to let me know what you think, whether you think it's a good option or not. And bear in mind, it's just for the next couple of game weeks. So I do think Havertz is probably the best option for the short term. I'm not wildcarding, so I'm not necessarily looking to get in players for the next 15 game weeks and set and forget with 5 or 6 of them, because I'm quite happy with my team. This is one of those transfers that you do just because you need to, and you're going to transfer them out again in a few weeks. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. Please do like and subscribe. Let me know if you're going with a different option compared to me, if you've swapped out Isak for someone, and I will see you in the next one.